Hi, welcome to Rugby Uncovered. I'm Tom Nash. This week we're talking to Darren Lamon, the Sale Sharks head of women's rugby. Darren, thanks very much for joining Rugby Uncovered. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, mate.
Your job title at Sale is head of women's rugby. Now, to me, that says that you oversee all females who play the game at the club.
So it'll be heading up the programme. So heavily the organisational part and the liaison with the RFU and obviously the recruitment and retention and of the players. But part of the role will be hands-on coaching as well, alongside a few assistant coaches. So pretty fulfilled role, but pretty excited about it.
You're a busy guy, yeah. There hasn't been a women's team at Sale for that long, has there? You've made progress incredibly quickly in a part of the country where football is traditionally the biggest draw.
I think it might be common knowledge. About 4 years ago, we applied for the place in the Premier 15s and didn't quite get it over the line that time. So as a repercussion from that, one of the local amateur sides, Sale FC, they created Sale 1861 women's side, which have gone and done brilliant in the last 3 years. But they were still affiliated to Sale FC, so it's still been a bit of a burning desire for the Sharks as such to have the athletes, to have the women's performance side, and really happy that we got it in April this year.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You touched on it just now. You oversee the Centre of Excellence programme in collaboration with England Rugby. How does that work?
So each Premier 15 side will be linked with the Centre of Excellence, which works alongside the CBs, so heavily influenced by Cheshire and Lancashire with ourselves and the RFU. The quality RFU like performance pathway team will be part of that as well, but we just kind of overlook it in terms of facilities and a coaching curriculum, and obviously we'll be given this as year one along with the Sale Sharks women's side. So pretty excited about how that can become a pathway for young aspiring Northwest talent to kind of stay in the area, whether that's work, apprenticeships, university, with the ultimate goal of putting on the Sale Sharks women's jersey in the next few years.
Oh, that's brilliant. You've worked with Sale Sharks through various avenues that the club's community trust as rugby development manager, academy coach, development officer. You've worked with North of England women. You've worked with Malta women's sevens. You made a decision, I guess, fairly early on that the women's game was going to be your focus.
Yeah, there's just some great opportunities, really. And in the coaching world, and especially at Sale Sharks, we'll always kind of look in-house. So there is a pathway for coaches. Like I said, I started as a community coach working in rugby development, and that led to a role within the academy. And it's one of the, if not one of the best academies in the country, really, that's aspiring to be world class. So loads of kind of opportunities came that way for me to develop as a coach. I was pretty influential in terms of just putting together a little bit of a team and an angle to deliver to the RFU to get our place in the Premier 15s competition. Once the owners and certain personnel kind of I had a little bit of a passion, ignited for that, and believed in it and wanted it and could see it happening, they kind of thought, right, if successful, then the role will kind of come for me to head it up. My passion in women's rugby really came from unfortunately, my playing days, I had a bit of an injury, mid-20s, which I was pretty average, if I'm being honest with you, as a player anyway. But I couldn't really get it over the line where my playing kind of career was going and wanted to be due to injuries. So the opportunity came to coach. And mid-20s, looking back, it was probably a bit harder than I first thought. But I really wanted a point of difference in my coaching that would make me unique for the future. So hopefully the looks of the Sale Sharks Academy and the community and the club itself would consider me, because there's some great coaches out there and you just need to work hard and do the dogged hours and time. My point of difference came as an ex-coach of mine, worked for it's World Rugby, but was the IRB, and gave me a year to go away and work in Malta and Sicily and travel a little bit and head up a bit of a rugby development program for them. Part of that role was to oversee the women's national and sevens and kind of program and opportunity. And that ignited it, really, a real good way of coaching. Love the way require the knowledge. They feel that they're owed it because a lot of female players start the game a bit later. So the attention to detail is brilliant, and the planning side of it. Came back from that year and a half away, and then took on some North England divisional stuff, which was being a northern lad and working with northern girls and stuff was great. So that's how it kind of came about.
Oh, fantastic. And a beautiful country as well to spend a year in them. Sale spent a while trying to create a women's team. From the start, has it been a case of having to sell rugby to talented girls over sports like football and netball and lacrosse? Or
yeah, I mean, again, rugby's big and it's getting bigger and stuff. And obviously, with the success of the first team doing so well, then it's reached out to more demographics. Let's play. You kind of, a lot of people aren't familiar, and excuse me if you are, but where our training base is based in Manchester, it's not only the football, which does phenomenally well with our neighbours, as we say, and their pathways in early, the individual stuff around the cycling, the athletics. But I remember we could put a 40-mile radar or radius around us, and you look at some of the rugby league women's sides that are there, with St Helens and Wigan and Warrington and Salford and Castleford and Leeds and stuff. So it's pretty important that once we got it and we got this place, but now it's using the centre of excellence, and again, there's talent everywhere in the northwest of England, as there is in England, but it's about the opportunity. And now with the Sale Sharks women being part of it for 3 years, linking in with the centre of excellence and the quality work England Rugby do in the CBs, the opportunity is going to be there now and managed with personnel. So if you're a young girl at 15, 16, 17, there'll be an opportunity for you to come and train with Sale Sharks women in their environment, not with the squad, but at our training base with new facilities. And I think that'll spur on some the growth of the game as well, which is just as important.
So rugby league is effectively your direct competitor where you are?
Yeah, I'd say there's with the teams, there's quite a lot of women athletes that are playing rugby league, especially the last 18 months with their World Cup being next year. So a lot of people and a lot of women do dual code as well. They'll play the rugby union in the winter, then they'll be registered at a rugby league team in the summer. But hopefully with a little bit more, and I kind of promote that for skill development and whatever and wherever you kind of see yourself. But hopefully, if we can have a successful squad at Sale Sharks, we're going to be competitive. Then hopefully people who aspire to play for us, which means they'll have to play for a rugby union women's side in the championship or lower down levels to aspire to play for Sale Sharks, which will hopefully backfill the squads of teams in the championship or lower down.
Sure, yeah. You've been as busy as any club in the so-called transfer market, with Mary Grieve, Molly Kelly, Katie Daly-McLean, Laura Perrin, Vicky Irwin all joining the club in the last few months. How does that work? Do you tell the club's owners who you want, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably heavily influenced by myself in terms of, unfortunately, in today's times with lockdown and stuff, watching a lot of footage over the last season until it was ended in the year before, knowing a few of the girls just from watching, observing anyway, and then seeing where they kind of want to go themselves. So it's really important that some of the girls you just kind of mentioned there are pretty excited about the opportunity to be in a performance environment and to create a little bit of history. So we haven't got the history of these top women's teams that are there, the Waterloos and Richmonds and Litchfields of this world, and the stuff that all the other current TP sides are doing over the last 3 years and creating their history. We want a group of players that, one, want to play for the club and want to represent the North or Northwest and be part of it. So when there's future girls who are 15 years old, let's say, in 5-6 years, they'll go, I want to be part of that Sharks. I want to be like Katie or Molly or Laura or Vicky and stuff. But yeah, to answer your question, it's been myself and then Katie, who's come on as a player coach, has had a bit of influence. She's been good. Her role off field so far has been outstanding. Little nuggets of information and stuff that will drive the performance. But yeah, we've signed those players now in terms of they're the ones I believe that when we're up and running and the squad's training, that they've got a bit between the teeth. They've got a point to prove. Again, they want to play for the Sharks. They've been in performance environments already, whether that's Wales, England, Scotland, They've played in the league already, so they'll have an expectation there. All that together, and a couple of more signings will be announced in the next week or two. Another group of athletes that will drive the training. So this local talent that will be part of the squad will aspire and have hands-on in the moment experience of that's where top women athletic rugby is. So that's probably the driver behind the signings.
Brilliant. And Katie Daly-McLean will start the new season as player coach.
Yeah, and really, I'd loads of chats with Katie. She's the northern girl. She fits pretty well into the northern way at this club, a little bit in your face, hard edge, and we want our playing style to be like that, and we want people to come up to the north and get a game. And yeah, it's player coach, but let's say the players in capital letters and the coaches in brackets, lower letters. So it's a big year for Katie. She's going to drive the training and everything, with it being World Cup year. But Katie's kind of coaching role will be with us in the analysis in the team and having a look at previewing some fixtures. She'll be tasked with keeping a close eye on these local Northwest girls and where their development areas are. Obviously, a scouting avenue will be part of that for with the future in mind of the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, hopefully. But yeah, she'll be heavily the player first and then coach second, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. We've Rugby Uncovered's been interviewing players and coaches from all 10 teams in the Premier 15s, and there's been a lot of references to the sharing of resources and personnel, the seamlessness, if you like, between the men's and the women's squads at Sale. Do you think this is the future for all clubs who want to attract women to the game?
Yeah, I think if it's done right, I think the director, Rugby and owners, again, as I've mentioned, are pretty proud of. We'll look in-house first. So if there is a coach that aspires to coach in the Premier 15s, we'll look in-house and see if the opportunity's there. Same with strength and conditioning or nutritionists or anyone. I think where it's kind of going, there'll be a little bit more mirroring or women's performance sides bolting on. So, like, for example, me and Katie will be sitting in coaches' meetings, which is pretty important. So playing philosophies are aligned and making sure that the athletic development of players is aligned. And obviously women's game at the heart of it and how they athletically develop with the knowledge of strength and conditioning coach and how that's done with certain timings of when they train per week. But yeah, I definitely see it as part of the future. I see it as part of a big marketing opportunity to how they can combine. So the first team men's, can the women's emulate it? The women's game might not be professional as of yet, but will definitely be acting like it. So some kind of fun rituals or a little bit of culture elements that the men's sides do, and we've all heard of them in the past. Can the women's side mirror that? So hopefully some answers in there for you.
The quality that Paul and I have seen since September has been incredible. That it's like a professional sport already. Obviously, it isn't yet, but it's well on the way to that.
Yeah, and why can't it? Like I said, it might not be there in bold writing as of yet, but that does not mean that you can't act like it. So that'll be a big driver for what we're doing. And again, we're pretty excited in terms of we're all under one roof at the Sale Sharks. So the men's first team, obviously the academy, and now the women's performance side are all under one roof. So once that gets into a rhythm again of we call it kind of the rugby rhythm, you nick the best bits off the other team. We'll nick what works with the first team regarding culture or performance, or we'll nick it off the academy, or hopefully they'll look to us. And when you've got the people like Katie in your environment and Molly and a couple of other girls that will be joining and stuff, they might nick some stuff off the women's side. You never know.
Yeah, sure. So the women's game, this is my opinion, is better placed in a way than the men's, with a September return for the new season being the current proposal, rather than a July resumption of the current season. It strikes me that professionalism apart, that preparation time you've got between now and the start of the new season, whenever that might be, is advantageous.
All being well, if it is to start in September, then with the way it's looking, I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth or anyone to take this, but the athletes will have to have 7 to 8 weeks of conditioning. And I mean, it's in the best way in terms of a lot of people have done stuff individually and remote, but nothing drives on athletic development and performance than with your peers, with a competitive edge. And I think that most athletes would probably have dipped down from where they probably wanted to be personally. So that kind of time, which is probably pretty lucky for the Premier 15s and every club, they'll have their own kind of plans. It's definitely in our thinking of how we utilise that around practice design and link in with all staff to get up and running as soon as we can, really.
Yeah. I was going to ask you whether you thought that the growth and the emergence of the women's game might play a part in some quite significant changes in the laws of rugby, but the changes being imposed by COVID-19 on the way the game is played have been instant. What are your thoughts on, for example, free kicks replacing scrum resets?
Yeah, I think fair play to him. A lot of people don't like change. I think rugby coaches that will be listening will probably back me here. It's you spend each kind of year with abiding to law changes and getting your head around it. I think what they have done around the mauls and stuff, and specifically the play of the ball at the ruck going from 5 seconds to 3 seconds, will just be of a massive benefit in terms of it's not too big for you to get your head around. It's pretty simple. People kind of coach ahead of the game anyway. So, I'm not too sure if the mauling element with your practice design around rucks, they'll be concentrating on ruck speeds quite high in training with adaptive skill games. So I think the training stuff will match it. My thoughts are whatever works. These are the professionals, and at the end of the day, if they see it and they've had their panel and this is what it is, then the quicker they can get that information out to coaching staff, then we can do our practice design around it, really. But full credit for them to being really proactive. I mean, it's not June yet, and there's already some light at the end of the game being really close to the game we love and know, and not too big a changes. So full credit.
And tackling is going to have to be practiced even more precisely, isn't it? This and the proposed reset changes have to make the game quicker, more entertaining, even if it will resemble rugby league slightly more than before.
Yeah. As long as again, I mean, if it's clear on and this is what it is, then it just reiterates that point in terms of we'll need a bit of time with the players to maybe get that conditioning right, and then letting the experts. This is how you get a body even lower at this pace. This tackling this hard and this new way, and then the coaches can have some fun around how ball movement will be quicker and better anyway. But it's pretty. It'll be pretty good, to be fair. It'll be pretty good. We don't want to underestimate these players and what's in their brains. They'll adapt and get used to it, and like most things, you'll just get over it. So
sure.
Okay, Darren, thanks so much. It's been fascinating.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Darren. Thanks.
You've been listening to Rugby Uncovered. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to your company next time.